In the meantime, when an innumerable multitude of people had gathered together, so that they trampled one another, he began to say to his disciples, first of all, "Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, for there is nothing covered that will be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have in the light, and what you have spoken in the ear in inner rooms will be proclaimed on the housetops. And I say to you, my friends, it's not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have no more than they can do. But I will show you when you should fear him who, after he has killed, has power to cast into hell. Yes, I say to you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins, and then one of them is forgotten before God? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear. Therefore, you are of more value than any sparrows. And I say to you, whoever contests me before men, him the Son of Man also will confess before the angels of God. But he who denies me before men will be denied before the angels of God. And anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man, it will be forgiven him, but to him who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven. Now, when they bring you in the synagogue and magistrates and in the authorities, do not worry about how or what you should wear or what you should say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you in the way, in that very hour, what you should say.
Someone out of the crowd said, "Teacher, order my brother to give me a fair share of the family inheritance." He replied, "Mister, what makes you think it's any of my business to be a judge or mediator for you?" Speaking to the people, he went on, "Take care. Protect yourself against the least bit of greed. Life is not defined by what you have, even when you have a lot." Then he told them this story. The farm of a certain rich man produced a terrific crop. He talked to himself, "What can I do? My barn isn't big enough for this harvest." Then he said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll gather in all my grain and goods, and I'll say to myself, 'Self, you've done well. You've got it made and can now retire. Take it easy and have the time of your life.' Just then God showed up and said, 'Fool, tonight you die, and your barn full of goods, who gets it?' That's what happens when you fill your barn with self and not with God."
He continued this subject with his disciples. Don't fuss about what's on the table at meal times or if the clothes in your closet are in fashion. There's far more to your inner life than the food you put in your stomach, more to your outer appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Look at the ravens, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description, carefree in the care of God, and you count far more. Has anyone, by fussing before the mirror, even got taller by so much as an inch? If fussing can't even do that, why fuss at all? Walk into the fields and look at the wildflowers. They don't fuss with their appearance, but have you ever seen colour and design quite like it? The 10 best dressed men and women in the country look shabby alongside them. If God gives such attention to the wildflowers, most of them never even seen, don't you think he'll attend to you, take pride in you, do his best for you? What I'm trying to do here is get you to relax, not be so preoccupied with getting, so you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things, but you know both God and how he works. Steep yourself in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Don't be afraid of missing out. You're my dearest friends. The Father wants to give you the very kingdom itself. Be generous, give to the poor. Get yourselves a bank that can't go bankrupt. A bank in heaven, far from bank robbers, safe from embezzlers. A bank you can bank on. It's obvious, isn't it? The place where your treasure is the place you will most want to be and end up being.
Keep your shirts on, keep the lights on. Be like house servants waiting for the master to come back from his honeymoon. Awake and ready to open the door when he arrives and knocks. Lucky the servants whom the master finds on watch. He'll put on an apron, sit them at the table, and serve them a meal, sharing his wedding feast with them. Doesn't matter what time of the night he arrives, they're awake and so blessed. You know that if the house owner had known what night the burglar was coming, he wouldn't have stayed out late and left the place unlocked. So don't you be lazy and careless. Just when you don't expect him, the Son of Man will show up. Peter said, Master, are you telling the story just for us, or is it for everybody? The master said, Let me ask you, who is the dependable manager, full of common sense, that the master puts in charge of his staff to feed them well and on time? He is a blessed man, if when the master shows up he's doing his job. But if he says to himself, the master is certainly taking his time, begins beating upon the servants and maids, throw parties for his friends and gets drunk, the master will walk in when he least expects it, give him the thrashing of his life, and put him back in the kitchen peeling potatoes. The servant who knows what his master wants and ignores it, or instantly does whatever he pleases, will be fully thrashed. But if he does a poor job through ignorance, he'll get off with a slap on the hand. Great gifts mean great responsibility. Greater gifts, greater responsibilities.
I've come to start a fire on this earth. How I wish it were blazing right now. I've come to change everything, turn everything right side up. How I long for it to be finished. Do you think I came to smooth things over and make everything nice? Not so. I've come to disrupt and confront. From now on, when you find 5 in a house, it'll be 3 against 2, and 2 against 3, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against bride, and bride against mother-in-law.
Then he turned to the crowd. When you see clouds coming in from the west, you say, "Storm's coming," and you're right. And when the wind comes out of the south, you say, "This'll be a hot one," and you're right. Fords, you know how to tell a change in the weather, so don't tell me you can't tell a change in the season, the God season we're in right now. You don't have to be a genius to understand these things. Just use your common sense, the kind you'd use if, while being taken to court, you decided to settle up with your accuser on the way, knowing that if the case went to the judge, you'd probably go to jail and pay every last penny of the fine. That's the kind of decision I'm asking you to make.